Is my okay, my volume's up here. That's good. We're here. We're doing it. Not sure what we're gonna do. I mean, I'm working on my little platformer thing. I was thinking that it would be cool if there's some sort of tool that lets you like plan the actions. Like for example, if I'm like, I want to do a dash, and all I have to do is like put together like already existing move tiles together and change some of the parameters and animations, and all of a sudden it just works without having to like worry too much about things not working. I'm not sure what that would mean. Like, I don't know if it's actually easier than just programming it. I mean, one benefit I'm imagining is the need to like test and see if fundamentally things work or not. So we'll see. Anyways, what an opener! What an opener! I didn't even say hi, or did I? I don't know. I'm going to make some announcements here as I do. I mean, technically, I feel like people normally, other streamers do this like as they, before they go on. Hey, Cooley. Long time no see. Long time no see. But I'm over here just saying stuff as I go. I'm a little bit hoarse right now because I just finished recording my promotional video for my course. By the way, 30 days Godot course for complete beginners. We got few viewers already signed up for it and have gone through the first week. Well, about to finish their first week. I think it's good. So we'll see. We'll see. So I did the promotional video, which means the next video that's going to come out is going to be a complete advertisement, so to speak. But don't be discouraged. If you're my viewers, please share that with people that you know that wants to make games. And you know you can trust me. I'm not just going to scam people out of their money. So I think word of mouth is the strongest tool out here. And if anything, that would help a lot. Live now. And of course, you know, I like having people that kind of close to me that already know me doing these things because it gives me a freedom to like actually adjust and fix things if things are wrong without feeling like I'm like really caught in a trouble loop. But yeah. But I know for a fact that a lot of you guys are not a beginner, so it's not for you guys specifically. But if you know anyone who has absolutely no idea how to code. Cooley says, if I knew anyone that wanted a game dev or wanted to game dev, I will share it with them. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, I appreciate it. I know. Also, it's one of those things that it's really hard to like find out if people are working on it or not. A lot of people like to do it in secret. We got a bunch of perfectionists out here who doesn't want to share their dream with their friends. Cold. All right, let's see if the titles of the stream is correct. All right, we got that here. Ask anything. We got the 30-day course. Okay, cool. We're going to keep doing this. For the next, I don't know. You know, honestly, that's going to be my sponsor only. Oh, who is just saying hello? Hi. Anyways, that's the sponsor. The sponsor is me. I am the sponsor of my own. Okay, we're going to work on our platformer game thing a little bit. I just had an inspiration. The inspiration was, so for example, like we've been working on this like character movement module or node thing that you can just kind of drop in and then it just works, right? And this one has stuff like jump, run, idle, and it does the state management by itself because that's the complicated part. Well, I was thinking that it would be cool if I can be like, basically idea is something like this. So if I say, let me give you an example. Well, this one is a behavior. So let's say if I have a script, for example, it'd be cool if I can be like, hey, dash just is, I guess dash can be its own thing, but you know, like I could be like, oh, get a new dash, and then like parameter is like speed, like assign the speed of the dash, so we can be like dash equals dash.new and then be like dash.speed equals like 1000, and then like dash animation cancel frame is like, I don't know, 100 seconds. So like this would like allow us to program easily like what animations to play, what happens, and then also decide which part of that animation cycle or action cycle is cancelable, where you can input the next input and then immediate. You know what I'm talking about? Like the animation cancel is kind of important, right? Because there's this like animation of anticipation, launch, and then reel back, typically. And in a lot of the games, a lot of the action-packed games, that reel back portion of the animations can be canceled because it needs to feel snappy on the control. Where people go, okay, I'm gonna do the next one. So if people are like spamming the next move, even before the animation completely finish, you can do the next thing. And that's a big part of the game feel. So, part of me was like, oh man, that programming that for every single action sounds annoying. And also, every time I have a new thing, for example, like double jump, triple jump, or like cast fireball, whatever, I feel like it would be awesome if including and adding those things can be easily scripted, as opposed to just being like a um whole back and forth figuring out all over again and stuff like that. And I guess the question is it easier? Is it simpler if I make it programmable, like in the coding script, or if it's easier if you can just drop nodes in to make it happen? I guess that's the homework here that I need to figure out. Otherwise, I gotta charge my controller, but my what do you call platformer is working, I think. Hold on. This one is still double jumping. It feels like double jump. If I spam, oops. Because I tried to add the coyote time last time. Or coyote, what do you call that? Coyote time, yeah? It is called coyote time, I think. So, I mean, game feels pretty good. With the run, jump, dash attack. Wait. So, we'll see. We'll see. We'll get around to it. Maybe we'll do a little bit of pixel art. We're going to kind of take it easy today in general. And then, oops. I suppose I should re-export this to update the example. Yalv says, WSP. I don't know what WSP means. What's up, maybe? How you doing, dude? We're doing well. I was just kind of chatting about, what we're going to add, the movement control thing. My problem is that I think I share this with a lot of other developers too. Like, we have issues. Us technical people, our problem is that we're always trying to look for ways to like toolify things, which sometimes is like it's more trouble than worth. Well, a lot of times it's more trouble than worth. Yeah, Yalf says, yeah, WSP means what's up. I see. I didn't know that. Pretty cool. I don't know. This is pretty fun. Though I don't know. Maybe this is my game design challenge. Given these like simplest controls, can I make something actually like fun and incrementally difficult? Yalf says jump technique reminds me of Hollow Knight. Yeah, that's the inspiration. Because in the modern day, isn't Hollow Knight like the Metrovania platformer golden standard now? With a tight control? I mean, some may argue like Dead Cell, but Dead Cell is different, I think. It's different type of platformer. It's not like fast. Well, I guess, I don't know. Celeste is like precise control platforming. no combat. Dead Cell is mostly about, it's not even about platforming, it's all about combat, I think. And then you have Hollow Knight, which is a mix between platforming, precision, and combat, I think. Yeah. Does feel like there are moments where it feels a little bit like you can feel the inconsistency of like jumps and stuff. That's probably because I need to make things rely on delta as opposed to process tick. Anyways, which reminds me, I need to charge my controller. What do I unplug here? That's the main question. Everything is required here. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, let's make it. Let's make it so that, should we plan this first? I guess we should. Here we are, engineering practices. We're going to, hey, Bob. Bob24 Moraine says, hello. Bob says, you have 1 or 2 screens for programming. Okay. After working for a while, I actually got really used to single screen. I know a lot of tech people do like double screen with like terminal or like email on one side and then main screen on one side. But because I like working at a cafe, like cafe work is like, because I like getting distracted a little bit. Getting distracted slightly makes me it allows me to focus better because I like people watching. So I ended up like getting really used to working with single screen. But you know, I see 2 screen as like this. I have 2 screens set up, but mostly for stream stuff. I have all my chats open, all my like UI and volume control over here, and the main screen is this. I do know a lot of people prefer 2 screens, but a lot of people prefer 2 screens because they put a lot of passive stuff on the second screen. I suppose I should put on music here. Should I put on music? Yes, music or no music? That doesn't matter really, I guess. But yeah. I will probably do a little bit of advertisement here in a bit. Advertisement for my own stuff. You know what? I should probably update the chatbot so it doesn't do the other stuff, but just says the whole 30-day beginner course thing only. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I just unlinked an account. It's probably a bad idea. Sear says it's okay without music for me. Okay, I do think so because okay, here's an argument. Argument is that most people have their own music they want to listen to. You know, and like they can just, if they're bored with the no sound thing, just turn on your own Spotify. You know what I mean? It's even better because it doesn't clash with the things that are on the stream. Mr. Rest says, "Hi man, how's it going? I have you in my second screen. I see. I am your second screen man. What could I be doing that will extremely distract you?" See, this is what I'm saying. We like getting distracted a little bit. We like working in a little bit of distraction because it's like when you're focused, everything kind of falls into the background until you're like, you know what, I'm going to take a little break, and you turn around. That's kind of like a mini recharging. But I'm glad that I'm on people's second screen. Cooley says single screen. I have 3 and feel like it's not enough, Lamau. Yeah. Okay. So I used to be a fan of 2 screen until I moved to wide monitor. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate gaming on wide monitor. Gaming on wide monitor feels wrong to me because I like playing like precise gunplay, which means FPS is kind of sensitive and more resolution, or like it just isn't good for me. But once I did that, when I went to wide monitor for work, the more workspace allowed me to just kind of. But then the tiling solution kind of matters a lot. I do like tiling, but when the tiling doesn't work out very well, it's also very frustrating. So I don't know. Okay, it says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Is that true? Are you guys having trouble on YouTube? Or is that a hoax? It's a fake news. Okay, I'm gonna go to performance mode. Either way. All right, we're gonna go without music. And I have been chatting a lot, but I'm going to okay. Here's an exercise. This is the process of me coming up with plugin. Mr. Red says, yep, it's a bit laggy. I need to figure this out. I don't know. Twitch never has this problem. I think it's the bit rate I'm working with, but not really sure. Hold on. Stream health. It says it's poor. Serious issue that needs attention. Okay. This makes me annoyed all the time. It's probably the bit rate. Let's see if I can change something about that. Is it just a video or audio as well? So, what is it? Streaming, I have bitrate at 6,000. I mean, I don't even know if my computer can handle this or my internet can handle this. Mr. Rest says, I'll switch to Twitch if it's not laggy there. I don't think it is laggy there, but I would also like to know from Twitch a confirming information that it is not laggy. Although I do feel like YouTube, if it's laggy, maybe you delay it a little bit. It might be helpful. Hold on. How to choose bitrate for streaming. The Softbox Gamer says, bro, my game is releasing in 5 days and have 50% of the game still to finish. What do you suggest this is the game? Oh, you're releasing 5 days, but 50% is not complete. I say push the due date. Like, what do you mean? Is it like on a deadline for some reason? Why is it so strict? That seems incomplete. Because like the first impression is really important. Don't you think so? Unless you feel like that incomplete part doesn't draw down from the game experience. I mean, we can sit here and think about it logically. Mr. Rest said both go into buffering for me for, I see. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi on my phone and hope that helps. That's one way to do it. Maybe it is my internet. My internet is a little bit, hold on. Internet upload speed test. Run speed test. Oh, it's struggling. 100. This is so sad to me. Like, I'm paying for gigabit. Why aren't you giving me gigabit? Oh, I know why. Because I'm using my laptop, and my laptop is not wired in. It's using Wi-Fi. That's probably why. I'm like, you know what I really need to do? I need to really move on to my desktop as my streaming main machine. Thanks for the follow, Ackerman. Wait, that sounds familiar. Ackerman sounds familiar, but then I guess also Ackerman is not an uncommon name, maybe? Mr. What is it? Mr. Red says, no, we already did that. The Softbox Gamer says, yeah, and it's the main story anchor. That's okay. You really should push it. You really should you should sit down. I know it feels urgent. This is what I recommend. Sit down today. Itemize things you need to finish in order for you to say, my game is in a good state. Itemize in chunks of like each item's being no more than week long of work, and then be like, these are the things I need to do. This is how much I'm going to take plus 2 weeks. And then that's your actual launch date. Even that, you're going to find out that you are vastly short timed, but at least that'll give you some feeling of direction. And don't be afraid to like update that, every week. Basic project management tip there. You heard it here first, people. Okay, so I said I'm going to do some planning here. I guess, I don't know. This is up to you guys. I mean, it's up to me, but it's up to you. In that, some feedback. Ugh. Let me think about this. So what I'm looking at here is this idea. I'm imagining a action module, right? Which can be described by series of pre-existing building blocks. So I could be like, hey, the Softbox Gamer says, so maybe in 20 days. Okay, that sounds like a great idea. And it says, by the way, what's your game about? Well, this one, so I have a lot of projects out here. Hey, Tony. This one in particular is meant to be kind of like platformer, super like Uber platformer template project in Godot for myself and for anyone who would use it. Because it's, I mean, I made a lot of different types of games and game jams. It's just platformers I've never worked on. And also, you know, with Hollow Knight recently, there's like certain aspects and design that normal tutorials and normal game development patterns doesn't really touch on. Like, how do you implement coyote time, or how do you implement like numbers, or you know, how do you make it so that like things can be customized easier? So that's the goal of this particular project. This is a sample project to represent my 30-day Godot course. So I just launched a 30 days beginner course, and in there is we are creating a platformer game, a complete 0 to published on itch.io platformer game in 30 days for complete beginners. So I'm assuming that you have absolutely no idea what coding is. So I teach like a little bit of coding, some templating, and all those things. So, you know, trying to get it so that like you see these like smooth movement, the state transitions of the movements and all that. I'm trying to make a very, very like fundamental base level platformer project that you can just kind of replace a few things and easily level design and program new type of actions to make unique platformer for yourself. But I guess part of it right now, what I'm struggling with is every move here, the jump, the run, the hold to jump higher, tap jump, the actions and down attack and all those things are individually programmed. I programmed it for myself specifically for this game instead of it being a little bit more like generally applicable. No, it's a paid course. That's why I'm paying even more attention. I know I have a lot of free tutorial stuff on YouTube. This one in particular, I'm trying to, because okay, here's a truth. The truth is that when I'm making courses or when I'm making lessons on YouTube for free, because the way I pay for doing those work is advertisement, I still need to frame and edit heavily to make it more like popular. Which means there are a lot of things that I need to skip over or like summarize to fit that YouTube space. And that's why I'm like, ah, man, this sucks. Like, I really, really wish I could teach people fully, like, without skipping over stuff. But thing is, like, I end up skipping over a lot of things to make it YouTube. And the thing about the paid course is that it allows me to just kind of ignore the editing tricks and really focus on the question. The courses come with the 30 days challenge of making this game, weekly lessons, right? I mean, it's meant to be a 4 module, 3 lessons per module, whatever. And then there's a weekly kind of like classroom setting Q&A session to ask any specific questions and stuff like that. But yeah, course link is available. I don't know. I mean, if it not being free is really like kind of bogging you down, maybe wait a little bit. Maybe we'll have discount. Otherwise, you can always ask me specific questions. I have no problem. Wait, hold on. What the heck happened here? Ugh, my keyboard is broken. I need to get a new keyboard. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Let me share a link though. Hey, this is about time. So, by the way, if you're not a beginner and you don't need this course, hey, fair game. What I'm asking you though is if you already know me and you trust my stuff, if you know anyone who's a complete beginner that could really use something like this, I really appreciate some word of mouth. Link is available on YouTube description. But I guess I should really make a bot command for that to come up. Also, it's kind of like my first course that I'm releasing, so I'm taking a lot of feedback as well, which means if you're hopping on right now to the course, you get to really shape the course, meaning you get to add stuff or ask me to add stuff that you specifically need, which is like kind of like customized lesson for you. So there's that benefit. But yeah. The softbox gamer says that makes sense. Yeah, it does. It does, but it feels bad. Like as someone who's been releasing like free games out here. Oh, my cat is really trying to open that door. Who's been like releasing free tutorials and contents out here? It feels weird selling myself this way, but it's kind of necessary. Hold on, I'm gonna let the cat in because cat is like crazy. Hey, what's going on here? You want to stay here? Sure. You sure? You hate this. Come here. Wow. This is Big Chungus, Peach. She's a fatty. She likes to steal food from her sister, and we have to monitor her. She also hates getting held like this, so. All right. Get out of here. Goodness. Fat cat alert. Let's see. Tony's here. Oh my gosh, she's scratching at the door again. The softbox game. I do wonder though, what's the game about? I know you said 5 days. You didn't say though. Who gave you that deadline? Is it a publisher or is it yourself? Peach, please. Please let me just stream. Is this what you want? Okay. I'm gonna have to risk bad lighting for her to go back and forth. She's stuck. She's too fat to go through. Oh my god, you're gonna knock the light out. You're a troublemaker. Whatever, we're gonna work with this. They're so spoiled. Hello, I don't know what that says. Some Russian word. Let's see. Can I do Google Translate? I'll do Google Translate here. Translate. It says Happy New Year. Ah, how do you say that? Synovim Godom. Probably saying it really bad. The Softbox Gamer says, myself, by the way, the game is about guns, psychological horror, and Mandela effects. Oh, interesting. Chapter 1 is releasing in 5 days. By the way, your cat is cute. Thank you. Appreciate that. Topic seems interesting. Hey, Tony's saying the Happy New Year one too. I think. Is that the same word? No, it's not. Guys. All right, let's see. That one is
С Новым годом.
С Новым годом. С Новым годом. Am I saying it right? С Новым годом. Happy New Year, apparently. The Softbox Gamer says, if you want, I could send you a test build before release. Yeah, I would love to. take a look at that. You can email me, developerezra@gmail.com, which reminds me, actually, some person actually emailed me their game idea and wanted me to go over it. I gave some feedback, and they also shared like playable demo. So I guess I should probably do that because I said I'll get back to them after New Year's, and I haven't done that. I get really lost in my time. I have a lot of things going on. Of course, I'm here to make my own little game project, but at the same time, we're here to just kind of chit chat and whatnot. So let's see. Let's see if I can find a link. As long as we're not, ooh, 2-page document to write down the experience and then the build. Drive? I don't know. If you're going to share it, please share it as a browser. I don't know. I feel kind of iffy about just downloading random executable. The Box Gamer says, okay, expect emails in 3 to 4 days. Yeah, no problem. I'll do that. I'll feature you in my first series. No, probably not. Of course, I'll do it with consent. It was like, first series, a viewer shares their game and I shit on them. No, no. None of that. None of that. I'm going to be very fair in way I review things. Of course, I always say, take my advice with grain of salt because I am not the Bible. Cooley says, Ezra, did I tell you I got 2 kittens? Wow, 2 kittens. Cute, just like us. Hope they're cute and non-troublemaking. Mine are getting more and more troublemaking out here. The Softfox Gamer says, you inspire me to treat game dev like a chill session. Oh, I did. That's cool. The Softfox Gamer says, you're one of my inspirations. That's so cool. I like that. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's good to hear. Hey, look, somebody needs to be inspired by me because I surely am not. Raven says, haha, good Russian pronunciation. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for Happy New Year. Svonom Godom. I already forgot what it was. Svonom Godom. I only know Dobraya Utra. Dobraya Utra. That's it. But I don't know why, because this is my voice, right? This is my voice when I speak English. But all of a sudden, as soon as I try to pronounce any Russian words, I go like this. It goes all the way down into my thickest voice. And then when I speak Korean, I think I also go down in a pitch. Language is funny. Yes, I know we're just chatting and not developing. We'll get there. Don't worry. We're just kind of revving up because we're just getting started with stream here. Let's see. Cooley says, they're both adorable and troublemaking, Lamau. One of them is Orange, their brother and sister. Oh, send help. Yeah, Orange Cat. Gee. Well, good luck. You got your work cut out for him, but they're so lovely. Mr. Rest says, I also want a second cat, but mine eat like a pit bull and has an attitude. Oof. Maybe what will fix the attitude is a second cat. No, I don't know. Only do it if you have the space for it. And honestly, I feel bad for like a space issue with the animals, especially because cats are so like territorial. If you don't have enough space, it's you really need to make that decision kind of carefully. Oh, thanks for the sub, Chamomile One. I love chamomile tea. All right, Cooley says they shared something in the Discord. Hey yo, look at these, pretty cool assets. Is that what Cooley? Oh, Cooley says, side note, we need a pet channel to post cute pet pics. You know what? You are right. We should do that. It'll be under, I don't know. Should it be under, I mean, okay, random dev thing is random dev things. We got clips. Okay, here, let's do this. We'll make a text channel, not a private channel, called Pets and Cutes. Post your pet and cute pics here. Hopefully that works. There you go. Hi, Raiden. Thanks for joining Discord. Let's see. Mr. Rest says, I also want a second cat, but mine, like, no, I already read that. Gosh, I feel like a boomer every time I'm out here trying to stream and like reading Discord channel and stuff like that. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. The Softbox Gamer says, when you play it, make sure to embrace your personality. If not, the Mandela effects won't work. Embrace your, you mean your my personality? Like I have to play as myself? Raiden is you? Okay. Oh, Neko Punch. I love seeing my cats do the Neko Punch when they get on the ground and just like kick kick the toys with their feet. It was like, oh, nice. Uh Softbox Gamer. Okay. I'll make sure to do that. But do remind me though. Hey, my bots are broken. Why is Discord not working? Discord. Huh. The bots are on strike apparently. New year, new bots. Softbox says, yes, your personality. No, you the apostrophe. I know English is kind of weird. Apostrophe, it means you are, like you plus be verb. Your as in possessive is just no apostrophe, Y-O-U-R. Your. Um, Mr. Rest says, I have a question. So I'm developing a game as hobbyist, started recently with Godot. Every time after 2 or 3 weeks, the size of the project and the uh, code explode, and I do a kind of restart because, okay, so that is a common problem. Mr. Rest says, I suck at refactoring. Do you have any suggestions about refactoring? Honestly, yeah, like scope explosion is a problem. If you're facing, if you're doing that a lot, I would really, really recommend you look into making game design documents. Here's the thing: scope explosion happens. Well, here's a two different approach. I do like developing as you go and let your creative flow, like juice flowing, so it's okay. But the thing about GDD, the game design document, is that you're kind of like playing the game in your head with something physically being written down. And then it does the same thing, to me at least. I noticed that it does the same thing as like when you're like coming up with the ideas and then like this idea happens and this idea happens. Like it spins the same part of the brain where that same effect happens more rapidly and quickly and early on, and then that excitement is there. And while that excitement is there, you get to see everything that you can imagine. And then the moment comes where you go, how does it all make sense together? Right? Because like if you're writing things or if you're making things as the idea pops up, sometimes you get the problem of like things don't go together a lot of times. So you get to choose and sacrifice what things go together, and then you can commit to that being your scope first, and then making it. And then when you're done with that, you while you're working on it, you put aside all the other ideas. You put aside all the other ideas and say, I'm going to take note of all these ideas. I will add them later, but I'm going to focus on completing this part first. Now, it helps if that whole complete cycle is like less than a month or two, so that it doesn't feel like you're waiting forever to get to the next cycle. But yeah, that's one way. Other way is just the question of refactoring, where you do get used to like making code so that refactoring is not as big of an issue anymore. Also, um, yeah, I mean that's the thing. That's the thing. Because what you do notice, which I hate doing, is you make your game, you make your program a certain way. You programmed it a specific way, and then new mechanic idea comes through. But then the thing is like in order to make the new mechanic work in your current code base, you have to change a lot of things. So then the brain goes, do I do that, or do I just make this new idea fit it? So like you change the idea to fit the current system, which is doing disservice to the original idea, right? Because idea was good because it's what it is, and now you're having to change it. So then it's better to always commit to the idea being fulfilled. So that's why I say plan it out, refactoring is a big stuff. It's a big planning, and it is a thing that takes time. You have to commit to it being a time-consuming thing. So you want to do the time-consuming part as little as possible, which means you want every time you are about to refactor, you have to take a breather and really think about what this means and how to make it better going forward. Yeah, managing the code is hard. And the truth is, I'm having to do that all the time. Look at my player character. It's a okay. Look at my game. This game particularly, right? A platformer with bunch of stuff. The main game itself is pretty simple. Tile map, but I have a bunch of spikes. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, this is a game so far. Simple. We have enemy character and player character body with camera. UI layer has some health stuff. It seems pretty simple. If I put all my code into the player character body, that means every time I change movement logic, I have to change it in enemy character and stuff like that. So I decided that I'm going to do a composition where I do all my movement. I think it has to do with like how you compartmentalize and break apart different entities. So for example, right here, I have character movement that is solely about movement state management. And then I have a controller part where whatever is controlling the movement asks the character's movement component to be like, hey, I just noticed that this key got pressed. Can you do this movement? And if so, can you do it, please? So it's like, just imagine you're hiring people to control a different part of your game, I think. I think that'll help you sectionalize things better. Of course, if your code starts to become huge, that's a huge refactor risk. And that's where you start to break apart into these like small chunks of code and pattern. Coming up with pattern is good. I like to split eligibility and execution. So for example, I have a can run, which is state management versus actually performing a run as two different things. Yeah. But I would have to say, so far, even with 12 plus years of experience, I cannot completely avoid refactoring. So here we are. Long story. Quilly says, I posted my kitties in new channel. Oh, take a look at the kitties. Hi. Wow. Raiden, you're in general voice chat. I've never seen it actually. Oh, they're babies. So cute. Oh, they're babies. Frumpkin and Violet. So cute. Look at those like fresh paws. Kitties. They say technically you need number of cat plus 1 litter. So you need 3 litters, by the way. If you don't want them to fight. So the professionals say. Okay. Well, that's it. That's that's all the chat. Hope that kind of gets you encouraged or discouraged, Mr. Red. I don't know. I honestly think it's a matter of practice, matter of just doing it over and over again and then not being afraid of refactoring. But really, it's all in the planning phase. Willie says, yeah, they were born in October, first or second week, so they're still babies. They are babies. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes, the plan. So is this a doc thing, I guess? Or maybe I could make a text. I don't know where I put the design. Because technically, you know what? I'm gonna make a text document here. Text file. I'll call this movement module. A little bit of movement module concept. Movement module design. I want to determine and record what movement module looks like and how helpful it is. By end of the design document, I want to determine if there is a benefit in creating a module, or we should stick with programming each action individually. Mr. Rest says, yeah, I'm trying my best to reorganize the coding or more modular way to reuse the pieces. It sounds like a good suggestion. Yeah. You know, pros and cons. Honestly, in terms of optimization of execution, sometimes not modularizing is faster, right? Because we understand how calling works in the stack cycle, how computer calls functions, right? Assembly, in an assembly or machine code, in order for you to run a function, you need to, first of all, that code needs to be loaded into the memory. If not, that code needs to be, there's a whole execution of going to the disk, permanent, like a long-term save, getting to that part of the code, loading it onto the memory, and then jumping to that part of the memory. Another thing is the whole call stack, right? Currently, code is running on the memory 1, 2, 3, 4. It sees a function call line 12 or whatever. So then we have to hold this space into the stack. So there's a stack recording step. And then we jump to that line. And then we execute. And then if it has any subsequent like stack again, then we are growing the stack here at the bottom of the memory. And then when we're done with this execution, the code says, we're going to pop this out, go back to where it was. Anyways, the whole thing is that you got the save, jump, load, 3 instruction per, and then you're occupying a new memory space. So technically, modularizing means that something that could have been done away with those 3 execution is now added with those 3 executions. So technically, if you nest a lot, if you have a lot of modularization, then it's suboptimal. I don't know. It really depends on what you're optimizing for. So I don't know. You can argue both ways, but you know, in modern computing, modularizing is okay. I would like to think. But yeah. Okay, movement module. So movement module goal is when or as a game designer, I want to add new type of action by providing few simple parameters to existing movement module types instead of needing to code. For example, if I want to program, or if I want to add, I don't know, dash. If I want to add dash, add horizontal movement module, set speed of the movement, set movement is locked to indicate player control or external forces cannot interrupt. Maybe I say interruptible. Set interruptible equals false. Set animation for the dash for the movement. New dash animation or sprite animation that goes with this action. And set interruptible section or set cancel frame to allow interruption in the beginning seconds of the action, and set I guess action cancel would be, or start cancel frame and then end cancel frame to allow interruption before the action fully completes. Though I don't know how the like collision, there's a question of the collision box. Mr. Rest says the problem with modularization in the early stages is that you do not really know what code will be common enough to make a module worth no. Yes, that is the question. That is the problem with, okay, a lot of people who come from that tech world do too early of a modularization. That is AKA too generalized of a solution. Generalization is technically modularization, right? Great, building blocks. But if it's too general, then it's not good at anything, right? Like like you have a golf club for different purposes for a reason. You don't just go, well, we have a single golf club that can be changed in order to do all these other things. Like it's best at what it's doing when it's specific. So that's the risk. And that's why you have to kind of scope out and see what is all that is needed for my game and make a decision on how much of this needs to be generalized. So the problem with this one right now is I'm doing this exercise right now. I'm trying to make a modularized movement plugin. How generalized should it be? And there comes a point where it is too generalized. Like if the need is too generalized, that might as well just stay in coding. Like the coding, scripting the code, the way the engine is already is the most generalized form of the solution. So it needs to be better than just straight up coding a new solution for the generalized solution and module to be justified. So that's what I'm doing right now, right? So I said, hey, here's my goal. This is what I want to achieve. Is that even possible? So for example, if I want a dash action, I say, I'm going to add a horizontal movement. So that's the fundamental building blocks. And that horizontal movement would have parameters like speed, interruptible frame, and in which I don't even really need this. Because if I say 0 here and 0 here, that means the whole action is not interruptible. And an animation for movement. But is that it? Is that all we need to do? What about like collision animation? What if there's other animation that is involved with it? I do think that that means animation player should be used here instead. The Ginger Dev says, yo, 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 how you doing? Hey, Ginger Dev, welcome, welcome. We're just kind of generalizing here. Randall says, good idea. Being able to interrupt or stop an animation or tween will be of advantage of speedrunners. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of actually, like, as I was saying, like platformer, like fighting games, any type of like action-packed games, in order for control to feel snappy and like really like, oh, I feel like I have really full control over it. The whole cancel frames are really important, right? Because, for example, this is a main example. Swinging a sword or punching. Typically, the animation rule says their anticipation, meaning reeling back, and then actual execution, and then finish, the follow through. Typically, in a fighting game or action game, the follow through can be canceled because follow through doesn't have anything in it except information of we just finished an action. Hey, thanks for the follow on Twitch, Homer Silva. So the follow through is technically cancelable because if I say I don't need to see that animation, if I stood still, that animation feels great, but it feels like a better transition if I can immediately jump as soon as the punch executed. Or also, I want to be able to, if I input something quick enough right before the animation, the meat of the animation starts, then I should be able to just cancel that action, right? This happens with a lot of the strong attack or hold to heavy attack type of thing, right? Hold to heavy attack, and then they like you can dash out of it. Or like, what about certain rules like, oh, there's another thing, right? There's a in a lot of the games there are stuff like um can cancel other movement is another parameter, right? And then you have list of what it can cancel. Um list of other actions that this action module can cancel or can be canceled by, depending on, right? So negative list and positive list. Because if we only have one formula list, we might have to add too many into the list, right? So we have can be canceled by list of other actions that could cancel this particular action at any time. Maybe. Or should it be anytime? Should it be during the cancel frame? That means we have two different types of cancel frame. Now I have to define that. See, this exercise allows me to like actually come up with what are the requirements. I mean, this is typically what the project manager or a program manager might be doing, coming up with like parameters to the program, the requirements to the program that you're about to write in order to actually have a full feature. So I'm glad I'm doing this right now. I don't usually do this. I do it in my head or like I do it as a drawing, but having done this right now, having like doing this right now, I'm seeing a huge benefit to this because I'm like, I'm about to be convinced not to do this at all. Or if I do, change the definition of which part of this module I'm going to modularize. Mr. Rest says that's why Dark Soul feels so punishing. To some, you cannot cancel some attacks. Yeah, exactly. But that could be a like purposeful game design, right? So having a module allows you to kind of change those frames. Be like, okay, this should be cancelable. This shouldn't be cancelable. This should be more punishing. Like if you did heavy attack and there's a follow through, that should not be canceled, or something like that. You know. And that's how you adjust the fun of the game sometimes, or balance of the game. Yeah. But yeah. So maybe it shouldn't be global like this. Maybe the cancel should be a list. Should be like cancel object. So if you have cancel objects or cancel information, which could be constructed with like start cancel frame, time in the beginning of the action that could cancel the action. and cancel frame, time in at the end of the action that could cancel the action, and then actions, list of actions that follows these cancel rule. Hey, thanks for the follow, Roma. Hey, we got another follower goal reached, 1,500. Whoa, we're getting there. You know what's, I don't know. I hope the follower thing actually helps. It doesn't always correlate to like concurrent viewer, but you know, I'm not going to complain. Rendell says, are you considering a speed velocity as part of damage amount, i.e. momentum part of the combat mechanic? I think that should be able to be programmed, like custom programmed, right? So that means we need to figure out where the interrupters, is it an interrupter in the beginning, interrupter in the act, after the emotion? Should you be able to customize what happens in the execution? What about execution during the frame? Like, do you do different things based on the execution and different part of the action? Right? That is something that I do want to kind of consider. So the goal still is I want you to be able to implement basically any type of a platformer actions with this modular design. And if there are base building block that doesn't allow you to do something, you should be able to use this tool to make your base action, right? Yeah. Twin Power says, hey dude, hey twin, welcome. Hi, hi. Ooh, also I probably will be done here in 30 minutes, by the way. Maybe I shouldn't announce that. Hey, berry folk, here we go. Get that berry folk out there. um yeah, I have somewhere to be at 4 p.m. my time. And I have to make sure I eat and stuff like that. Anyways, which is a great point to say. If you're just Twin says, can you remake Roblox? Yes, I can remake Roblox technically. You can make it in Godot, I think. I actually tried playing it for the first time the other day. I was like, oh, this is interesting, but that was definitely my first time. Twin, if you want to get a berry folk, you gotta go to the power ups and rewards and do plant berry seed first, and then water them. That's right. That's right. Get your berry folk here. Get your berry folk. We got Tony with their Godot berry, Leginger with dice berry here. I got my shiny regular berry. Get your little berry folk here. Hey, blueberry folk by Twin Power. You got your blueberry folk. Hey, Eden. Welcome, welcome. Perfect timing. I probably will be out of here in like 30 minutes, so it's good to see you. We're in the middle of making a platformer movement module design. We're kind of going through to see if this is worth doing. All right, I think this is about good time to tell you again. I'm going to drop a link here first and then say some spiel about it. Boom. If you're on YouTube, it's on the description link. 30-day beginner starter Godot course. We're going to make games. It's for a total beginner. You don't need to know coding because I'm going to teach you to make your first platformer game, and we're going to publish it on itch.io at the end of 30 days. So if you are lost in tutorial hell, this is a way to get out of it. It is a paid course. So check it out. Check out the link. All right. That's enough for that bit. All right. So cancel information. So maybe we can have cancel information that has a start cancel frame and cancel frame, and then we can add the actions that follow that rule, right? We can have these are the actions, and now we can have a list of cancel information to have varied cancel frame for different actions. So we can have majority of the cancel frame be done by certain actions, and then we can add another one if we have, like, say, dash. Like, dash action can cancel anything. Because, you see those things all the time, right? I feel like that's something that, yeah, like, I don't know where I've seen it, but I feel like that's like a common practice to be like, oh, this ability allows you to, like, cancel out of things, and that's part of the mechanic. I like that. So we'll have that as our little cancel bucket. I do think that some of these, like, parameters needs to be defined by each action. There's no, like, standardized things. Each action module would do that. So we'll have node, and then we'll have action module. And whenever we're describing a full action, so new action should have list of action modules to describe execution. Parallel action, I don't know if the parallel actions are necessary, like positional information. I guess that's something we need to do. Translation, I suppose. But I guess all those things can be I mean, action module. Hold on. Action module could have its own code, and then execute is part of it, or maybe this will have a update with Delta, which will be like function that runs every update tick. And then we can have children. Action module update runs after or before? I think there should be two, actually. We'll have to have pre children update delta float, and then we have post children update, which will be runs update single tick update function that runs before running its children action modules pre and post update function. That's the plan here. So the action modules can be made up of a bunch of other action modules. So I want to be able to control pre-interrupter. So you run something beforehand, and then the children runs blah, 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 blah. And then we can have post children update, which is a single tick update that runs after all the children logic has been run. So we have both direction. So we can customize that execution here. I mean, if this is already coded, then we don't really need to do anything. And then the thing about the action module is that depending on what action module it is that we're customizing, we should be able to define parameters. So I don't need to predefine any of those things. that is built in with the fact that it's a node. So we don't need the update. I suppose it should have on cancel. On canceling needs like cleanup, a very specific cleanup. Runs when the action is requested to be canceled. And then we need on is that the only thing? I mean, depending on the frame. What else do we need here? This is pretty much the execution logic. Pre, post, children. Does it require mid children information? Does it have to inject information maybe? It already has access to its children, so I don't think that needs to be customized at all. Yeah, I think it's okay because this is happening on every tick. It's not like it's running once and then running all the children's stuff. It's like on every update. On every update, it runs. This one is running on every update. Ah, gee. Okay. Hold on. We need few things here. I would use this if things are being executed, if actions are being executed in parallel, meaning on every update, this one tick runs before child update runs. But what if I want to do it in series? I want to complete an action, then move on to the next, right? I think that's probably better. Yes. So instead of doing that, I want to make sure that the update yeah. Yes. Okay. This needs to do update result, right? So single tick update function that runs before any of the children action module has ran. Single tick update function runs before this and when update result dot finished is returned children action module will start to run. And then this one will be that runs after all children action module has returned update result finished. Yeah. Is returned the action, the current action module stops running. Okay. On cancel runs when actioners requested to be canceled. Who makes this request? I guess there's an action engine. So we have an action model on cancel, and then the action engine will consider all the list. Yeah, so this one's going to be abstract. This one is required. This one is going to be abstract. On cancel will be abstract. And this will run. And then non-abstract already existing export value would be cancel information. Action cancel config, I guess. And that one, cancel configs. We'll have array of this. Mr. Red says, new question. What is that abstract? Okay. Abstract allows you to basically create a required methods and parameters for any class that extends the abstract class to require to define. Okay, that's a long way to say nothing. Basically, I wonder if I have an example here. Oh, here it is. So this is a platformer character, right? I created this as an abstract class. You see how this function right here? I have a deal damage function and on hit function that's called abstract. And you notice something. What you notice is that it doesn't have any implementation. How does that work? So the expectation is that you will never use this code directly. You're always expected to extend this class, right? So if I say, hey, player character body, extended platformer character, then what it does is that it reminds the engine or the compiler will remind the developer being like, hey, you need to make your own implementation. You need to make your own implementation of this function. So it's like a reminder for myself to be like, okay, well, I'm going to expect these things to exist. But you as a programmer, individual programmer of using this thing, you have to provide your own meaning of what this function means. It's like abstract is to create a blueprint that somebody else needs to define, basically. Azazello says, is Godot hard to learn? Not really. It's actually pretty simple, depending on your experience level. But Godot is also kind of simple to learn as a total beginner. I'm glad you've mentioned. Go check out my 30 days. Go check out my 30-day paid course to go from 0 to hero. Geez, it feels really wrong, but it is there. But you can learn it for free. If you're really determined, you can learn it for free. But if you're like someone who's like, oh, I really have no idea, then course is available for you. All right. It's actually pretty simple, I think. Anyways, so that's what abstract is. So what I'm saying here is that, well, pre-children update and post-children update, I know a system will call it. Like there's a Uber system that's going to be like calling pre-children update. But then I don't know what's going to be in there. So I'm saying, hey, you as someone who's like using this plugin, you have to define this. And I'm reminding the engine to be like, yell at them if they don't. Anyways, so we have an exportable cancel config, and then we're saying that the cancel config is going to have these things, so that it allows for canceling, meaning we need a action driver, right? So we need action driver that handles action canceling and calling different update function based on which action is being executed. All right. What does the action driver need to know? And there's another thing, another information that these updates don't have, Are they going to get information like are they going to get an insight to what the world looks like? You know, that's another question we need to figure out. Mr. Rest said, I'm dumb with zero programming background, and somehow I put together something that works. So I think you can learn Godot too. Well, that's one encouraging ways to say it. I'm sure you're not dumb, but you know, the message still remains. Yeah, anybody can learn to do it. It really depends on how willing you are to like commit to it, and really depends on your learning style and who you're learning it from. Because learning style that works for one person might not work for others. And I like explaining things in ways that a lot of people understand. That's why I'm out here teaching people sometimes. But you know, there's a lot of resources out there. The Softbox Gamer says, yeah, Godot is pretty easy compared to Unity or Unreal Engine. Yeah, I would think so. It's less intimidating for sure. I don't know. I mean, I guess anything is pretty intimidating when you see it. When you first open up, like you see this, it could feel intimidating, but I think like this, like we're used to directory structure. Like if you've used computer before, you know what directory structure and ownership and parent means. And then, you know, coding is one thing. I don't know. I think you can learn. If you're unsure, go buy my course. Now, I'm sorry guys. I will have to be advertising this for a while now. Like it's my only source of income. Will be basically. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do here. Help me help you. You know what I mean? Okay. Wow, we've been doing a lot of like design doc writing basically. I feel like we're almost there. We can kind of decide. I guess the only thing that we don't have yet is like what does action module do? How is it going to like give us information on what needs to be defined? Action module or action driver. So action driver, what's the scope here? Action driver drives the action given the subject, world, subject, and the world. And the action module. So idea is the action module is selected like that. And then the world information, and then the subject performer is provided. To the action driver, right? Because I don't want it to be nested. I want it to be like, so these three things are retrieved by the game somehow. A key gets inputted. That means action module is selected. And we have the subject that's doing the action. And then the world information is given. We put it together. And then the action driver receives those information and executes. That's the idea. Some of the main functions here, I think. I don't know, there is a gap here that I see in my head, but it's really hard to think about. So if like, but you know, does this mean we're going to have a single action at a time for each subject? Or is action driver going to be owned by each subject? Like, do we have a unique action driver per subject, or action driver as a whole is like a actions driver server that will like key and control who is doing the action already. Maybe it does. So action driver keys and handles which actions are being executed by which subject. If new action request comes through for a subject that's already in the middle of action, the driver